Second story. Last May, China in the Sichuan province had a terrible earthquake, 7.9 magnitude, massive destruction in a wide area, as the Richter scale has it. And the earthquake was reported as it was happening. Right? People were texting from their phones. They were taking photos of buildings. They were taking videos of buildings shaking. They were uploading it to QQ, China's largest internet service. They were Twittering it. Right? And so as the quake was happening, the news was reported. And because of the social connections, right, Chinese students coming elsewhere and going to school, or businesses in the rest of the world opening offices in China, right, there were people listening all over the world hearing this news. The BBC got their first wind of the Chinese quake from Twitter. Twitter announced the existence of the quake several minutes before the US Geological Survey had anything up online for anybody to view. The last time China had a quake of that magnitude, it took them 3 months to admit that it had happened. Right? Now, they might have liked to have done that here, rather than seeing these pictures go up online. But they weren't given that choice, because their own citizens beat them to the punch. Even the government learned of the earthquake from their own citizens, rather than from the Xinhua news agency. And this stuff rippled like wildfire. For a while there, the top 10 most clicked links on Twitter, the global short messaging service, 9 of the top 10 links were about the quake. People collating information, pointing people to news sources, pointing people to the US Geological Survey. The 10th one was kittens on a treadmill, but you know, that's the internet for you. But 9 of the 10 in those first hours, and within half a day, donation sites were up and donations were pouring in from all around the world. This was an incredible, coordinated global response. And the Chinese, then in one of their periods of media openness, decided that they were going to let it go, that they were going to let this citizen reporting flower. And then this happened. People began to figure out in the Sichuan province that the reason so many school buildings had collapsed, because tragically the earthquake happened during a school day, the reason so many school buildings collapsed is that corrupt officials had taken bribes to allow those buildings to be built to less than code. And so the citizen journalists started reporting that as well. And there was an incredible picture. You may have seen it on the front page of the New York Times. A local official literally prostrating himself in the street in front of these protesters in order to get them to go away. Essentially to say, we will do anything to placate you, just please stop protesting in public. But these are people who have been radicalized because thanks to the one-child policy, they have lost everyone in their next generation. Someone who's seen the death of a single child, right, now has nothing to lose. And so the protests kept going, and finally, the Chinese cracked down. That was enough of citizen media. And so they began to arrest the protesters. They began to shut down the media that the protests were happening on. China is probably the most successful manager of internet censorship in the world, using something that's widely described as the Great Firewall of China.